Did a major aspect of the Rams' offseason plans just get leaked by a high-ranking executive in the Rams front office? We're going to break it down here on the Rams Report by Chat Sports. Welcome in if you are just joining us for the first time. We are your one-stop shop for all Rams news and Rams rumors. And before we get into the potentially leaked plans, I want to hear from you guys. Obviously, or not obviously, you guys don't know yet. The plans that leaked pertain to some potential extensions. So I want to hear from you on this. Do you want to pay Puka now, like today's video? If you want to get this contract with Puka done, one we know is pretty inevitable, at some point it's coming, like today's video, if you want to get it done as soon as humanly possible. If you want to go the franchise tag route, try to get Puka to play on the tag, wait it out a little bit, wait and see how things progress with him, I want you to comment why you're in that camp. But let's not waste any time. Let's jump right into what Tony Pastoors, the Rams' chief operating officer, had to say about the Rams' offseason plans and the timing of some potential extensions. Here's what he told Rams media. I mean, traditionally, we do most of those around training camp and whatnot, right? This time of the year, it's not abnormal, but it is. I think, and then he refers to Gary Klein, LA Times Rams beat reporter, mentioned it right. JSN coming that quick is probably, from a league perspective, a little abnormal. I think we're happy to talk to anybody at any time, but ultimately it's got to make sense and work into the calculus today and over the next few years. So, right off the bat, you can kind of get the idea of where the leak is, right? What the plan that's been revealed is, right? The timing of the extensions. He says they're willing to talk to people at any time in one hand, and we'll get into that in a little bit later. But the precedent that exists for the Rams, and one that he just lined out, and we'll talk about all the examples in 1 minute, is to do things during training camp, during the preseason, or right before the start of the regular season. So is that when we should expect Puka Nacua's extension? I think there's an argument for that. Again, like I mentioned, there's a strong precedent for it, even very recently. Quentin Lake, when did he get his 3-year extension with the Rams? On January 1st, on New Year's Day, right before the start of the playoffs, but in the middle of the regular season. Kyron Williams, when did he get his extension? August 5th of last year, right before the start of the preseason. When did Cooper Kupp get his first extension with the Los Angeles Rams after his rookie contract was over? September 12th of 2020, week 1 of the regular season. Jared Goff, he gets his on September 3rd of 2019, week 1 of that year's preseason, or week 3 of that year's preseason, excuse me. But like I mentioned, there are some outliers, and he mentioned they're willing to talk to people at any time, and I think this goes under the radar a little bit, right? A lot of Rams creators, a lot of people that I've seen on Twitter are hyper-focusing on the training camp window as the most likely, or in some cases even definite possibility or definite range for Puka's extension. But there is a precedent for the Rams when things are high profile, when they feel a need to move quickly, to do it out of that range. They got some extensions done earlier this offseason for guys that were set to hit free agency, but here's 3 examples of extensions that they did with guys who were not set to hit free agency, guys who did not need new contracts in that window in the same way Puka does not in the summer. Aaron Donald, June 6th of 2022, had another year left on his contract. They give him a 3-year, $95 million extension. And 2 days later, they re-upped Cooper Kupp on a massive deal of his own at the height of his powers. What's consistent about all 3 of these when you factor in Matthew Stafford's March 1st extension and restructure is the profile. The high-profile nature of all 3 of these guys, especially at the timing of their extensions, is what's consistent here. So I think there's absolutely a possibility, don't close the door, in my opinion, on the Rams getting something done sooner. Even though he says they're targeting the training camp window, that's when they normally get things done, we know they're willing to go outside of that when they feel they absolutely have to. Here's something else that he talked about. is trying to spend smart to avoid a salary cap reset year like what happened in 2022. If you don't remember off the top of your head, coming off of a Super Bowl appearance in 2021, the Rams were not good in 2022. They end up missing the playoffs, the only losing season in Sean McVay's entire history as the Rams head coach. And here's what Tony said about how they're trying to avoid a kind of fall off like that while also still building for the Super Bowl. What they learned from the last time they went to the Super Bowl and won in 2021 that's changed the plan. Here's what he said. Didn't we make the playoffs? What happened in 23? He was kind of joking about like, hey, we got it back together pretty quickly. Wasn't this a good thing? I think you've seen a league trend league-wide. A lot of players are taking shorter deals. I think the players want that flexibility, and I think it's helpful for teams as well, right? Obviously, the first Super Bowl build looked very different than the second Super Bowl build. And so I think this is probably just the next iteration. We have a lot of really good young players. We were fortunate to be able to go trade for an all-pro corner who's 24 years old. Those things don't happen often. And so you hope you have him for a number of years. And so that's why his deal looked the way it did versus some of our other free agent deals that are, or even some of our deals like Quentin Lakes and some of those other deals that we've been able to get done that are a little shorter term. So here's the idea at the end of the day with Puka Nacua, and I think you can tie Trent McDuffie into this conversation as well. He alludes to McDuffie as one of the priority guys, and I think we've talked about that a lot. Anchor points of this Rams team. Trent McDuffie on defense. The Rams have signaled in so many ways that they view him as an anchor, that they view him as a foundational piece of this team. The trade package itself to Kansas City, foundational package. You give up a ton to go get this guy, and then you make him the highest paid corner very quickly afterwards on a long-term extension that'll have him a Ram for the next 6 seasons. Why isn't Puka in that category yet? He's valuable on the field, but what's keeping the Rams from getting there with him? I think Jordan Rodrigue, former Rams beat reporter and current athletic writer, gave us a little bit of insight into it this weekend when she put out her column on what the NFL is talking about. And this is what she had to say on the Puka Nacua situation, or an excerpt of what she had to say on the Puka Nacua situation. Perhaps taking cues from McVay, and she's referring to McVay's handling of the initial situations with Puka Nacua, the Aiden Ross live stream. No suspension came about. McVay spoke highly of Puka Nacua's performance that week afterwards. McVay said he had faith in Puka to turn it around. So she says, perhaps taking cues from McVay, the Rams did not seem to have many long-term concerns about Nacua's behavior immediately after the in-season incidents. But it's my understanding that their concerns significantly increased, especially about Nacua's well-being as the offseason continued. While Nacua checked into the facility of his own volition, a source with knowledge of his decision said the team is certainly glad he did. It's pretty clear, and Jordan Rodrigue, if you're not familiar with her, she doesn't talk out of her ass, to put it frankly. She knows her stuff, especially when it comes to this Rams team. And I know this isn't what we want to hear, but it's clear that Puka Nacua's trust with the Rams is on rocky ground right now. It's not unsalvageable. It is far from unsalvageable. The way McVay has spoken about Puka Nacua as a young man that he wants to wrap his arms around, that he wants to help grow, that he wants to help succeed, shows us that they're far from giving up on him, but very concerned, and rightfully so, I think. I think we can all acknowledge that there's a lot of reason to be concerned. Anytime someone that you care about in life in general is checking themselves into rehab, that is a cause for concern, even if it's the right decision for them. It's just like, hey, what's going on, man? Like, we got to get you back on track. We got to get things figured out. But here's what Jordan continued on. She said, I don't believe that an early extension is now a guarantee. Even if the Rams have been clear they'd like Nacua to be with them for the long term, but the organization has a natural cushion during which to monitor Nacua, as they don't typically do early extensions until training camp. If they still aren't totally sure or need more time, they could even use the franchise tag on Nacua next spring, a move they've typically avoided. All of that together Here's my take. Puka will get his deal before the start of week 1. And this is me putting my faith in Puka to get things back on track, to nail it this offseason. I believe truly that this move to step him or to admit himself into rehab, this move to acknowledge that, hey, I'm not on the right track right now and I've got to get back on it before it's too late, is an incredibly mature step. It's a step that takes you got to drop the ego in that moment. You've got to be honest with yourself. That shows a lot of maturity. That shows a lot of growth. I think if we can continue on this track, Puka will regain the trust of the Rams quickly. Puka will show that he is a different man and that he is ready for the responsibility that comes with a contract like this, both in terms of the money and also the role that you are expected to play and the man you are expected to be, both on and off the field. I have faith in Puka Nacua. I'm putting my faith in Puka Nacua to be that guy, and I think the Rams will as well. But I want to hear from you. Should the Rams pay Puka before or after week 1? Do you want more time to figure this situation out, or are you ready to put your faith in Puka Nacua, to trust Puka to be the guy that the Rams need him to be, both on and off the field? Let me know in the comments with a before for before week 1 or an after if you want to wait until after the season begins. And they can get an extension done during the year, or you go the franchise tag route at the end of the season. A number of different ways that you could keep Puka in Los Angeles. I don't think letting him go via free agency or a trade is a thought in this team's mind. I've seen people discuss that. I've seen it come up. I don't buy into it. I wouldn't buy into it if I was you guys either. And that's going to do it for today's episode of the Rams Report by Chat Sports. I know the Puka situation can at times be a little bit, it's not the most fun stuff to talk about. Some of this is sensitive, but we absolutely have to be aware of where Puka is and the steps he's continuing to take to get back with this Rams team into being a productive part of it. Again, I have faith that he's going to do so, and we'll continue to cover every step of the process. So make sure you subscribe and make sure you're locked in, and we'll see you in the next one.